Hello. So I'll be presenting a study where we use machine learning to identify different levels of physical activity throughout a continuous data set for 12 months of physical activity. And I would like to acknowledge my colleagues on my left that were the authors of this study. And this presentation is going to be conducted by Catarina and Antonio, and I'm not Catarina. So we are very passionate about behavior maintenance because only when someone um, holds their behavior for long term, that person will be able to get the health benefits. And when we talk about the definition of maintenance, we can go Edward Boring about it and say that maintenance is what our tests of maintenance measure. But is that the case? Because when we look at some data sets, we see that the behavior is ever changing throughout the year, and this is real data of the NoHoW. You can see there's a lot of variability within each person. Uh, but that's not what we do when we go and analyze the data, because what we usually do is that we select some discrete points, and for example, the discrete point A will tell us that this person is not maintaining weight, physical activity, or whatever. While if we use the same on the same person, a slightly different data points, we would say, for example, on points B, we would say that this person is sustaining her or his behavior. So we could say that we could be fooled by randomness in the way that we select these data points. So I'm going to talk to you about the study NoHoW, and the NoHoW was a 5-year project. It was funded by the European Commission on the Horizon 2020, and it gathered 12 partners that focused on the study of weight loss maintenance, or as we call it, weight regain prevention. And we gathered data minute by minute, 24/7 for 18 months in 1,500 people. So that's a wealth of data that we now have on our computers. And we also have data for blood lipids and motivational variables and stress variables and weight, of course. And this allows us to study maintenance in a very different way. So I'm going to hand over to Katerina, the real one, so that she can present to you the aim of the study, the results, the methods, and I'll be back soon.
Thank you, Professor Antonio Palmeira. So the aim of the study I'll be presenting was to identify which motivational characteristics were associated with adult individuals in the process of weight loss maintenance. We used the available NoHoW project data, meaning we used the Fitbit data that was logged for 12 months and motivational information obtained from 2 questionnaires, BRECH 3 for physical activity motivational regulations and basic psychological need satisfaction, both applied at baseline and after 6 and 12 months from baseline. So, the study involved around 1,600 individuals from Portugal, UK and Denmark, aged over 18 years with body mass index above 25 in the 12 months prior to the NoHoW project, with at least 1 lifetime weight loss attempt and 1 weight loss attempt in the previous 12 months. We use 4.86 gigabyte of information, representing to more than 500,000 records. So, what did we want to achieve with all this data? Our main question was, how can we distinguish individuals' PA behavior from the Fitbit sample data? We hoped we could do it applying machine learning, so we took this route. We started the machine learning process by preparing and standardizing the sample data. To clean the sample data, we removed all missing values and all records that showed poor usage of the wearable device. We used most available features from the sample data: minute-by-minute steps, travel distance, PA level, burn calories, and heart rate. Finally, we aggregated daily subject data using simple metrics like sum, mean, standard deviation, maximum and minimum. We ended up with 18 variables and more than 1,000 records, one per individual. At this point, we were all set to start the machine learning process. And the next question was, which machine learning algorithms should we use? We decided to apply a cluster method, k-means, in order to identify which individuals practice PA in a systematic way. Our mindset was that this procedure would help us group similar individuals and therefore similar PA behavior patterns. So, to use k-means, we first started by using PCA, Principal Component Analysis, in order to reduce the dimensionality of the data, and only then the k-means method was used for the purpose of clustering the individuals in two groups. Finally, we used an hypothesis test, t-students, to validate if the groups obtained in the cluster analysis corresponded to participants with statistically different characteristics. So, what did we find? Using PCA, we were able to verify that the first two components explained almost 80% of the feature variance. So, we were able to apply k-means using only those two components. The final results revealed two different clusters of individuals labeled as active, meaning they had the highest PA levels, and somewhat active, meaning they had the lowest PA levels. Additionally, we ran the students' t-test to support differences between clusters and calculated the Cohen's d that revealed a large effect size. We noticed that on a daily basis, the individuals in the highest levels of PA cluster walked an average of approximately 12,000 steps, traveled 8.7 kilometers and burned more than 28,000 calories. And when we assessed their motivational profile, we discovered that they had high levels of autonomous motivation, and their uppermost regulation included intrinsic, integrated and identified regulation, mainly in the first 6 months of assessment. We also verified that there were a decreased level of autonomy from BPNS between 6 and 12 months, with the lowest value presented at the 12th month. Finally, comparing both clusters, we verified that the individuals in the highest PA cluster showed a much more autonomous motivational profile with a far higher autonomous regulation throughout the study when compared to the ones in the lowest cluster. On the other hand, those individuals presented higher values of external motivation and amotivation. Thank you all for the opportunity to show our study.
Thank you, Katerina. This was our first try in using a novel approach to identify physical activity patterns with a dataset with continuous data. As wearables are everywhere, these datasets will become the norm in the near future. I foresee that we will be able to identify dropout patterns much earlier and act proactively to maintain healthy physical activity behaviors, and thus contribute effectively to the betterment of public health. I hope this presentation was helpful to you, and we are looking forward to your questions.